the songs they play. But Director Chris Murphy of the Public Safety, head of Public Safety in the City of Montgomery, is in the studio. Good morning, Director.
Good morning, Mark. How you doing?
I'm fine, sir.
Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning, sir.
We appreciate you being here.
Absolutely.
And I saw the mayor speak on this yesterday. It got me fired up.
Okay.
Mayor said at his press conference yesterday that there'd only been a couple reports at this house on Hart Drive. Same thing you told us on Wednesday. And he kind of compared it to a Super Bowl party, like getting reports about Super Bowl parties. That is just not being candid with these listeners. And let me tell you why. I have information, and you can confirm it, that the Montgomery Police Department has been trying to catch Gary Blackwell in his strip shows and what was going on for some time.
That's accurate.
Say that again.
That's accurate.
In Town Lake, the police department had confidential informants trying to actually bust this situation. Would have been dozens of people there. There was some homicide along the way of the business on the Southern Bypass in which there's some concern that it was a stripper involved with now the deceased Mr. Blackwell. Now we have Mr. Blackwell being murdered. This is big stuff, and here's what I'm concerned about. Not that you aren't doing your job.
No, I don't take offense to that. And
Kevin Murphy's doing his job. Both of you guys are. But there's a possibility there have been leaks out of the department as the department was going to move and make these raids.
Well, that sounds glamorous. I have no evidence to that. Let me tell you what we've done and what we have, and then you can poke holes in it and do whatever you want to. When I was on the air the other day, I said that there had only been 2 calls to the Hart Drive, and that's accurate. From what I could get, you call me very quickly, and what I could get at that point. Those are the 911 records I got from the Department of Communications. Now, once I asked for, and Kevin Murphy asked for, an internal investigation. They did a great many of those. And you know, there are 2 ways that you can get police action, if you will. One is you call the police, black and white comes, and everything's on the record. There are other...
or you could flag one over.
Sure, any kind of direct contact there. But then the other way is through our Special Operations Division or the Detective Division, where they get informants, or they get anonymous tips, or they get information. I don't know about all those cases, but that is what is going on. So what I do now know, so what I said and what the mayor said was accurate. There were only 2 official calls to...
At Hart Drive.
At Hart Drive. Let me just finish. Yeah. Hart Drive. We also had information that there may be more at Hart Drive from other sources, the Detective Special Operations Division, and we took police action. I'm not going to go into all the details, but we... tried to take that from an a tip only to, as you know, reasonable suspicion and then probable cause to develop information to be able to either get a warrant or take action, because the allegations were stripping and things like that.
Underage stripping. I got a call from a father yesterday who tells me his daughter, when she was like 18, so he found out she was participating in this. This is rampant. Prostitution was involved in these raids.
But, Mark, if we don't know about it, if we don't have information, if somebody doesn't call us and tell us, wait a minute, if somebody doesn't sign an affidavit or we can't get an undercover agent in there, we still can't take police action. Kevin's right in that.
Director, you can't kick the door down. You have to have enough to get a search warrant. I understand.
That's what I'm saying.
But what we now know, and I think if you, the mayor, or Chief Murphy, anybody just talks about Hart Drive and 2 calls.
I'm not finished yet.
Well, let's talk about Town Lake.
Well, that's where I was going to go.
Let's talk about Igor.
Let me even go back further. Let me just say what I want to say, and then, like I say, you can poke holes in it. Mr. Blackwell had been on the police radar. We've been aware of him for a number of years, okay? We knew about him way back into the 90s, where he had actually been the victim of a shooting himself. And he declined to prosecute and signed a document to that effect. So as far back as that, we have been aware of Blackwell. I haven't been aware
of him doing what? Or you were concerned
I'm not going to accuse him of anything, but being involved in activity that would come to the police's attention, either criminal activity, immoral activity, vice activity.
We have an anti-obscenity statute in Alabama that covers all that stuff.
All that stuff. So we were aware of Mr. Blackwell, all right? When he established Igor's, there was information about that. We took police action. We attempted to take police action, meaning, surveillances.
All right, so for the audience, we're talking about, they call it Igor's. It's on the southern eastern bypass. It was a business he was involved in somehow.
Yes.
And the reports were that immoral activity was going on with strippers and everything else out of that business right here in the capital city.
Absolutely. And we continued, not just once or twice, but we continued to try to make progress to establish probable cause and to go in there.
Y'all were working on it.
Then there was a shooting there in the parking lot there.
The lady died. It was
absolutely, it was a homicide. And so, obviously, that keeps it back on our record. But you have to investigate the homicide just like we're investigating Mr. Blackwell as a homicide. When you do that investigation, peripheral things come up. And so that kind of added to this.
Were there any arrests made with that lady's murder?
To be honest with you, I don't know that answer.
And is it an open case? Yeah.
I don't know that answer.
They made an arrest on it, and the guy they said did it is in jail right now.
All right. Well, I appreciate that because I didn't know. Now, Town Lakes, where he lived before, as you
and for you guys that don't know where this is, it's in East Montgomery, east of Arrowhead, over there by the Colonial Bank building that got built at the Middling exit.
In early last year, we became another time we became aware. We actually had 2 incidents where we became aware of information about that residence, and we again began to take police action to develop probable cause and go down that road. In at least 2 allegations that I'm aware of, there were mention of Montgomery police possibly being at that residence
as participants.
Well, I don't know. Not
the information I have.
Certainly that is
here's
suspected.
The information I have. The information I have from very reliable sources in the police department is this: that we had reports that some of our folks, being police officers, were going to these events off duty. I don't think they were in uniform. And we were having to start look at that because of the obvious consequences of that.
Absolutely. That we had reports that the police were there. And because he was a person of interest in this broader investigation or broader interest, if you will, we, again, could not substantiate it. We had one pretty specific incident where we knew a time frame, and we did everything we could as far as logs and who was on break, and you never know if an officer's off duty with an off-duty job and route to an off-duty job.
Because nobody just walks in and confesses. You're trying to find out who this might be. You're trying to track the area. And I understand that it's tough to catch them.
And the person that called in and let us know about it, we sent out, we interviewed them, and they didn't have a name. So anyway, but in an abundance of caution, in early last year, Chief Murphy, in a staff meeting, there was no memo, but in a staff
folks,
meeting.
You need to listen to this. Then Chief Kevin Murphy, doing his job appropriately,
in a regular staff meeting, mentioned this to his command staff, and he said, "I do not want any of our officers, on duty or off duty, to go to this residence unless it's on official business."
Naming Blackwell in his conversation with the senior staff.
Yes.
Keep going, because I think I know what happens after that.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Now, based on that, precinct commander writes an email.
This would be a captain.
Yes. Really codifying, if you will, what Chief Murphy said verbally in a staff meeting.
Basically to his team, sergeants, lieutenants, people under him. He sends a memo out. He has Blackwell's name in it. It goes out to lower subordinates in the police department.
It says, this place is off limits unless you go to official business. And if you're going on official business, then you are to go out on the radio, proper procedure. So there's a documentation of that, there's a time of that, the nature of the call, and then you go back on the radio when you're 10-8 or back in service.
And my information further is that memo that went out, or email went out, was read to the regular line folks, I call them the patrol officers, at their roll call to let everybody know. That's how the word got out.
Right.
And that's how it got back to me. I heard from the little folks calling to tell me everybody knew this. Now, Director, here's the big question.
Okay.
I do know y'all we're trying to catch them, or at least there's some indication. I'm not sure how aggressively. I mean, I think there's some, you're confirming the investigation, but I got to believe if y'all wanted to get them, y'all would have gotten them. And I'm not talking about you in particular. And if there were leaks out of the department, because I'm told that when y'all were getting ready to move, kind of like a drug bust, all of a sudden everybody'd scatter. And y'all weren't able to catch them in the act, in a situation, kind of like the gambling cartel, okay? I've seen this happen there, too. You did as the head of public safety. It is time, because of that, to bring in some independent folks. You've worked with the Attorney General. You know Luther Strange.
Absolutely, very well.
You've worked with the United States Attorney. You're a former Secret Service man. This is serious business to the citizens of Montgomery. This isn't just folks having a good time at a Super Bowl party.
Let me ask a question, Chief Director Murphy. Unlike my colleague over there, I'm not ready for the police state to hit Montgomery, Alabama. We know that in certain communities, we allege that there are drug houses and things of that nature. And even the police may know that some activity is going on at those residences that is not appropriate. But there is a set procedure that must go on in order to get the evidence, in order to... We got this little thing, maybe Mark forgets about it. He's a lawyer. Sometimes his mind's not there. It's called the Constitution of the United States of America.
I'm a believer in the Fourth Amendment.
Okay. I'm just saying, you know, what we as civilians see, and we ask all these questions, am I getting older, I'm learning these things, it's not so clear as what you guys do, because there are procedures you have to take. And is that the case here?
Absolutely, and I do agree with that. We have a flawed system, but we have a good, solid system. I've traveled over 20 different countries, and
greatest system in the world.
You are a judge. You're absolutely right. I would rather err on we missed it than violate rights.
Oh, no, I don't want you, but
what I'm saying, no, wait a minute.
Did we ever make the effort to get a search warrant?
We didn't have enough probable cause. You have to have you have to get in front of a judge if it's a misdemeanor, which stripping is. If it's a misdemeanor, you have to get in front of a judge. You have to have either a complainant sign the warrant or the officer has to see it. Now, we continue to do that. We continue to try to establish enough and get it to the level of probable cause. We were never able to do that. Now, I've got a pretty thick document. I read over this all day yesterday, all day. We met with General Sams. We met with the mayor.
The title simply says, and I haven't read it, it says confidential.
And you're not going to read it.
Right, for law enforcement purposes only. So you've got reports. You're looking at all of the work.
And there was a lot of different activity in there. I'm satisfied.
Why not involve somebody independent? Let me go back to my question.
Well,
why not, you know I was a prosecutor.
Absolutely.
You know, and you were the director of public safety.
Absolutely.
You headed the state troopers. Often you were called in when it was a local law enforcement matter. I'm sure you had to go into many police departments and county sheriff's offices. That's not a reflection on you,
absolutely not,
or the mayor.
I'm not defensive about that, Mark.
Time to call him in.
Called in the Secret Service when we had an allegation about a ranking officer in this department, and they made a great case. We cooperated with them, and they arrested that ranking officer, and he was prosecuted federally. We have done that with the FBI. We have done that with the Attorney General. We've done that with ABI.
Isn't this one of those situations?
No, not at this point. I'm open to it completely. But what do I have? I have that there might have been these parties. There might have been a tip.
We got 2 murders. You folks...
Wait. The murders are separate investigations, and they're being thoroughly investigated. As Kevin said, there was an arrest.
Confirm this. You now have evidence, based on your murder investigation of Gary Blackwell, that Hart Drive that night, because y'all have interviewed witnesses, involved all sorts of anti-obscenity, stripping, maybe prostitution, sex acts, everything.
But it's still a homicide investigation.
No, but you have evidence of what I just described that was going on in Blackwell's operation.
Okay, and that's after the fact. But the homicide takes priority, and we're not going to... I hate to even talk this much about it. Ellen Brooks may get on to me about
I think
this.
Ellen Brooks should recuse herself. I'm trying to understand why the district attorney, Ellen Brooks...
It's a homicide.
Well, but here's what I'm concerned about. This has been going on for years, is what we now know from talk radio.
Okay, but unlike...
And everybody let it go on?
The federal government came in on, say, the gambling trial on alleged corruption, not running a gambling institution. The locals did that investigation.
It wasn't alleged corruption. Some people pled guilty, so I'm
okay. I'm trying to... The trial's going on. I'm trying to have an abundance of caution here. But I worked for the federal government for 21 and a half years. So that you know this, there are procedures. If there is any indication that there is a cover-up, there's anything else, I welcome Luther Strange, Hugh McCall with the Department of Public Safety of ABI, anybody else to come into it. I'm open to that, but I don't see enough evidence, enough allegations.
I have confidence in you as the Director of Public Safety in Montgomery.
Appreciate that.
And I have confidence in Police Chief Kevin Murphy that y'all will not cover this up.
I promise you that. And if I do, then the mayor needs to fire me.
And the mayor, on the other hand, does not need to spend this. He'll be here Monday to lead people to believe yesterday at a press conference.
He wasn't trying to say this was just a Super Bowl party. He was trying to say...
Does the mayor know about Town Lakes?
He does now. He did not at the point. And when
Did he know at the press conference yesterday about the operation?
No.
Did he know about Igor's?
He was briefed last night in my preparation to come here. The Montgomery Advertiser has asked questions, so I responded to them. Tim Lennox has asked questions. I'm going to respond to him.
Everybody's on it now.
Everybody.
We're happy.
We had a meeting with the mayor, the city attorney, General Ron Sams with City Investigations, myself, and about 4 high-ranking law enforcement from MPD. We are trying to do everything we can to make sure this is straight up.
We're going to go to a break. Director Chris Murphy, who is straight up, former Secret Service agent. There are times, even in the capital city, where you're glad some new folks have come in. He's been on the job about a year, and this is a tough case.
Let me say one other thing before you do a break, if you don't mind. If you, Mark, or Kevin, or any of your listeners have evidence to the contrary of anything I'm saying, I want you to come to me. If you don't want to come to me, then go to Luther Strange. Go to General Ron Sams of the City Investigation. Go to Hugh McCall and Major Neil, too, at ABI. I welcome that. But you can't just do allegations. If you've got something, bring it forward to somebody.
Well, it is an open case. I think there's a lot more coming out. Guys, we're going to go to a break. This is the Capitol Buzz with...
And we'll be back. You know, I work on computers, and this guy does police work. I think I'm going to let him do the police work.
Does a good job. Just ask the gambling cartel. We'll be back.
Everything you own in the box to the left, in the closet, that's my stuff. Yes, if I bought it, please don't touch.
We thought a charging rhino would be an impressive metaphor for the big deals at OfficeMax. But because our prices are small, marketing sent us a rhino the size of a chipmunk. They say his tiny size symbolizes $10 off the regular price on select TurboTax software this week. $10 off is a big deal, but our tiny rhino is charging the TurboTax display anyway. And he's out cold. Find all the big deals now at OfficeMax. Offer ends Saturday. Good on TurboTax Deluxe or higher.
Question: what's sweeter than chocolate or candy, yet has absolutely no calories? A 14-karat white gold diamond pendant exclusively from Charlotte's Jewelry. Valentine's Day is approaching fast, and Charlotte's has that special something for that special someone in your life at a special price of $149.95. Come into Charlotte's today and get her something that will make her heart melt for less. Charlotte's Jewelry in the Pepper Tree Shopping Center, Montgomery.
That Mark needs to go down to the city council, get a PI. I've been thinking about becoming a private investigator myself. I think you need one of them licenses.
You're qualified for that. Yeah. But the director had to go to continue work on this, so callers, we apologize. That was all he was able to do today. But I think you got a lot of information there. I actually believe we're ahead of where the investigation is. We do have multiple sources on this one. That's a nice way of putting it. A lot of information coming to us. We will share what we can verify. Let's go to... I guess T's up first. Hey, T.
Good morning.
Good morning.
In regards to the investigation, these little parties, the strip things, this and that, I mean, it's nothing new to the city of Montgomery. These things...
That's just amazing. And I think you're right. That's the problem.
Well, yeah, they've been going around for, I've been out of school for 30 years. And they've been going around since back in the day.
You remember the movie Walking Tall? You remember who Buford Pusser was? That's actually a true story out of Tennessee.
Yeah.
And there was all that gambling and prostitution, all that going on in Tennessee, right. And somebody was in on it and all that. Here's what I want to know, T. Here's a big question, and I tell you what, we don't know this yet. I want to know who was at these events, because my information is it's not just black folks, it's white folks, and it's prominent folks were going to these events. And it would have been a laundry list of real names had they ever made a bust And it probably would have been a big stain on the Capitol City.
Unless there's video evidence, I mean, that would never be known. I mean,
but I'm sure parties go on in Wind Lakes too, brother.
Right.
Okay, so
well, here's my question. If they were going on in Wind Lakes and somebody looked the other way, I hope they shut those down. I tell you, we'll talk to you. John's up next. Hey, John, you're next.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning, John.
I appreciate you, Judge, for bringing these things out. But here's the bigger view, my view of the whole situation, is that Mr. Murphy and all those other guys are so used to looking the other way, especially when it happens in the black community. Now, you take like robbery. It's common, very common in the black community for like my office has gotten broken in last year 6 times. After a while, it's just a common thing. You can't get anyone to come out because they place a low value on the community, and everybody's paying taxes. It discourages you from keeping your business in the community, any reputable business.
Why do you think they look the other way, John?
Well, because there's no outcry from the community, and the black community has always been an experimental area for the whites. And if it happened across, now my house is located on
that's the only part I'll disagree with. But John, I will agree with you to this extent on 2 areas. I think when there is a rash of burglaries and robberies on the west side, people kind of say, well, that's standard operating procedure. But when there's a rash of burglaries in Vaughan Meadows, in Cloverdale, or Wind Lakes, or Town Lake, all of a sudden it rises to the level of priority. So that I will agree with. The second part, and this is the major question, these activities, these strip club, prostitution rings, whatever were going on, are going to have involved some very prominent local folks. And I think maybe that's why people didn't get as aggressive as they needed to. What do you think?
What I see is, number one, it's okay as long as it happened to them, but it's not okay if it happens to us. So when it began to bleed over across the line, then everything becomes open. It's like a black person being prosecuted for murdering another black person. They very seldom get life sentence. They get about 10, 15 years. But if he murders a white person, it's completely different.
All right.
It's a whole different, and it's hard to get past.
So what do we do about it, John?
Like
what do we do about it?
Well, I think you're on the right line. You are on the right track. And I'm sorry that Kevin has to demean the whole situation, make it sound like it just happens. But for long,
it is something that happens all the time.
Well, listen, it depends on where it happens.
Okay, well, listen, John.
Let me ask you this: would you agree to that?
Well, sure, but also, if we're going to be honest here, let's be totally intellectually honest here. One of the reasons why...
be totally intellectually
One of the reasons why... Okay, if we got to be honest here, one of the reasons why police there isn't such an urgency to get to the west side, because we don't, at least in the past, don't participate in the investigation. I ain't seen nothing. I've seen people who have had U-Haul trucks backed up to people's houses in the west side, moved everything they out, and nobody saw anything.
John, thanks for your call.
You got to help yourself.
Well, Kevin, but here's what's interesting about this Blackwell investigation. I've now brought out on the airwaves that Town Lake, a very prominent, mostly white neighborhood, it's kind of Wind Lakes-like, Kevin. Town Lake, okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Judges live in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
And Heart Estates were both involved in the same thing, and it looks like the police work was about the same in both places. There's no race issue on this one, unless people are looking the other way because of a lot of the people involved.
Let me ask you a question, Mark, and I know this is going to seem like I'm taking you off your thing, but I'm really not.
I only have about 10 more minutes.
Okay.
I got to go today, so have fun.
But we never look into why these things happen in certain neighborhoods. With the economic disparity in certain neighborhoods, if we paid as much attention to why people are doing these kinds of things in certain neighborhoods, why there's a Wind Lakes, why there's a Town Lake, why there's a Greystone. I mean, if we paid attention to giving an equal opportunity to all these folks, we wouldn't have as much crime. So I'm just saying, why don't we?
I'm not following
well, of
that.
Course
Tell me what you're saying. Just
because economically,
I got to go to court this morning.
Because we live in a city that you so graciously remind me every once in a while that Montgomery is probably 70% black. We own 5% of the businesses. Just 5%.
Kevin,
but see,
I've done this with you so many times.
But that makes a difference.
You live on Federal Drive.
Yeah.
What is the race of your neighbors?
Oh, I don't. White and black. Actually, white.
So, just like me. I live in Wind Lakes. On one side, there's a white guy, and on the other side, there's a black guy or a family.
Right, but what I am saying, if we gave the urgency,
across the street's a white guy, next to him's a black guy.
But if we gave the urgency,
integrated, Kevin.
And we're not really talking about color for them. We're talking about economic disparity, and we're talking about how the world. All them black folks we talked about this morning. They are the consumers and not the producers of anything in the city of Montgomery.
Well, this is what's exciting about next week. Let's promote next week. Next week.
See, you don't want to go there, but it's easy to pick on the guy that's doing the crime.
I've exhausted myself arguing with this.
Yeah.
But you will have an unbridled 2 hours every day, and callers, you will be our balance. I'll have an unbridled 2 hours. You guys can call in. We'll have a guest on both shows, but we'll give them airtime. See how we made them wait?
I know. But that does matter, though. But we brush that
Kevin,
under the rug.
What matters is what we learned this morning from Director Murphy, that for several years in the capital city, there has been a ring of prostitution and stripping going on at businesses that are known, homes in the capital city, and the police, apparently, I learned...
Well, we already know that. Only you and Murphy didn't.
Well, you said you didn't know.
I know everything.
And you just don't report it. Let's go to Wilson real quick. Hey, go to Wilson.
As long as it ain't in my neighborhood.
Hey, good morning, fellas.
Go ahead, Wilson.
I just want to say that I know the hauling and scripting thing that's going on, but just like the hauling and scripting thing, I think they got an entrepreneurial spirit. It's been going on since the beginning of time.
You ever been, Wilson?
What about those illegal immigrants?
Wilson, did you ever go to those strip places?
Yes, every time I can. Yeah.
How much did they charge you?
Well, it's different prices for the event, but I'm going to let you know.
All right, well, you have fun. I hope you get, next time they raid it, I hope you're there.
Well, that's free enterprise, man.
No, Kevin. And I want to say this part. I do have to go to court this morning, so you'll have fun. I'll be listening. I'll monitor. You don't worry.
I'm going to be sad.
I look forward to Monday, but I have to give the great goodbye to you. But I looked up the statute you want. There's a lot of crimes involved in what was going on. If you're paying a fee, whether it's a private club or a business, there were problems. So there's a whole anti-obscenity statute.
I got you.
All right.
So if you get butt naked and you don't charge, you're good.
No comment.
I'm just saying it. So in other words, it's the money.
His address is Federal Drive. Let me give him that address. But let me say this. I have, of course, we'll see each other every day, so I don't want to make it too sentimental. But you're going to have a great show. I look forward to it. We'll have fun. And to the audience, we hope you listen all 4 hours. But who's your first guest next week?
Well, I'm actually going to have this guy, the guy with the video that had the police, had the kids throwing chairs at him and stuff like that.
That's going to be a good...
I'm going to bring him on. I'm going to let him tell his story.
That's Jesse.
Yeah, Jesse. I'm going to let him come on and tell his story, and I'm going to talk to Father Driscoll next week about the Catholic position. Evidently, they made Barack Obama blink.
Well, we're going to share a lot of things that week because the mayor was on his rotation with this show. The mayor will be here Monday. That seat will be hot. He'll be on Kevin's show, so I'll be gone. He'll be not next week. I'm talking about. He's going to appear on both shows from time to time.
Oh, I don't know, but
he doesn't get out of an Elkins interview.
No, well, we're friends.
All right, well, we'll be back, guys. We appreciate it. I am going to run to court, be listening, and help me behave yourself.
I'll do it.
I'll see you Monday.
Yeah, I'll do it.
But everybody else, hold on for the second hour of the Capitol Buzz.
And if you know what the next address is, shoot me an email.
Let me mention our friends at Christian Brothers Automotive on the Chantilly Parkway next to Walmart. Go see them, Jim and Martha Skelly. Get your car serviced. I've got to do it. I'm going to plan it for about Wednesday of next week, and I'm going to let them drive me home in that fancy car.
All righty then. And, of course, we take your calls, your comments next hour. We'll even take a call from Mark.
This will be, I bet you'll hear from 50-50 now that I'm out of the studio for an hour. 50-50, good morning.
Anyway, you want to watch this segment on Channel 8. I think Channel 8's here.
Channel 8 has been here. Watch them tonight. They'll have a news story on the interview with Director Murphy.
Yeah, Channel 8, the local folks. I like you guys.
So you're big time.
Yeah, you guys. Don't have your nose all up in the air over there.
All right, we'll
like
see.
some TV stations do.
Y'all stay tuned right after this break.
Gotta get
I'm Jed Davis in the WSFA 12 newsroom. Here's what's happening on this Friday. We're following some breaking news from overnight. An Alabama congressman is being investigated for insider trading. The Washington Post says the Office of Congressional Ethics is investigating Representative Spencer Baucus for numerous suspicious trades. Baucus is in his 10th term and holds one of the most influential positions in the House as chairman of the House Financial Services Committee. A group of Republican lawmakers introduced a bill to lower legislative pay. Senators Brian Taylor and Phil Williams and Representative Mike Ball proposed the constitutional amendment. It would repeal the 61% increase that legislatures gave themselves in 2007 and tie legislatures' salaries to the Alabama median household income, but also give Alabama lawmakers the same travel reimbursements as state employees. We'd like you to join us today for the WSFA 12 News Give from the Heart Blood Drive. It's taking place from 6 in the morning until 6 in the evening at the Life South Blood Center on Carmichael Road in Montgomery. That's your news on this Friday. I'm Jeff
HD on News Radio, brought to you by Max. This is WLWI AM Montgomery, a Cumulus station.
CNN Radio, I'm Jim Ribble. Top story this hour, an administration source tells us the White House likely will come up with a compromise decision today on contraception coverage in health care plans. Now, religious groups have raged that a pending federal mandate would violate their religious rights. We asked Obama Deputy Campaign Manager Stephanie Cutter what that compromise might entail. She thinks it'll be based on some state versions that found ground for compromise.
28 states are already doing this. Looking at how those states accommodate religious institutions, not churches, because churches are already exempt from this.
Well, it might be much ado about nothing in Alzheimer's research. Then again, it might be something big. Scientists accidentally discovered that by giving mice large doses of a cancer drug, certain markers for Alzheimer's were quickly reversed. CNN's Elizabeth Cohen explains what scientists did.
Basically what they did is they took a cancer drug that's already on the market and they gave it to mice that have Alzheimer's disease. They found that it changed really important biomarkers in their brains and it changed their behavior.
Among the behavior changes in the mice, improvements in their memory. Researchers hope to start tests on humans within a couple of months. NASA is concerned that the vision of some NASA astronauts may be in jeopardy. CNN's John Zarella tells us the problems cropped up in some astronauts who've been in space for a long time.
We had an opportunity to sit in on an eye exam given to a NASA astronaut, one of many, who has come back from long-duration spaceflight missions with changes to his vision, not for the good.
NASA's not sure yet what's causing the problem. Former Penn State coach Jerry Sandusky will have a court hearing today. One issue is a prosecution request that he stay indoors during his house arrest because neighbors are concerned about him being around kids. CNN's Jason Carroll reports some questions include who will serve on the jury.
Because there's been so much publicity surrounding what's happened here, there has been a call for perhaps jurors to be taken from a jury pool outside from where we are now.
For news anytime, go to CNN.com. This is CNN Radio.
Castrol Edge, the official motor oil sponsor of the NFL, knows you have the strength to perform. So when you buy a Castrol GTX conventional oil change special for $20.99 or a Castrol Edge oil change special at Advance Auto Parts, you'll get an official NFL hat for the team of your choice free by mail. At Advance, we don't do anything just part way. We go full throttle by bringing you exclusive deals that will flip your lid. Service is our best part. See store for details.
At Regions, we're building a better banking experience for each small business customer. That means giving you the basics, like checking and savings, as well as offering the right lending options. Because we understand how important capital, revenue, and cash flow are to your small business. So if you're ready for a bank that's as committed to growing your business as you are, switch to Regions. Visit regions.com/yourbusiness today. Regions, it's time to respect more. Regions Bank, member FDIC. All loans subject to credit approval. See individual account disclosures for details.
Castrol Edge, the official motor oil sponsor of the NFL, knows you have the strength to perform. So when you buy a Castrol GTX conventional oil change special for $20.99 or a Castrol Edge oil change special at Advance Auto Parts, you'll get an official NFL hat for the team of your choice free by mail. At Advance, we don't do anything just part way. We go full throttle by bringing you exclusive deals that will flip your lid. Service is our best part. See store for details.
Whether you're looking to update your flooring or you're in the market for a new appliance, find big savings at Lowe's. Right now, get 10% off all major appliances, $299 and up. Plus, get 18-month special financing on major appliances, flooring, and kitchen cabinet and countertop purchases of $599 or more when you use your Lowe's consumer credit card. Hurry into Lowe's for these and other great values every day. Lowe's. Never stop improving. Appliance offer valid through 2/13/12. Credit offer valid through 2/15/12. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Your morning cup of Sean. This is the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
All right, so we had Justice Ginsburg. She creates a firestorm by saying that, well, Egypt should not look to the U.S. Constitution when drafting their own government document. And then President Obama complains, these founders, they framers, they're getting in the way of me being able to do everything I want.
What's frustrated people is that I have not been able to force Congress to implement every aspect of what I said in 2008. Well, it turns out that our founders designed a system that makes it more difficult to bring about change than I would like sometimes.
Oh, separation of powers. Bad idea. Yes, Obama needs full and complete control. Now, that's a scary thought.
From coast to coast, from sea to shining sea, it's the Sean Hannity Show.
Sunday on History. Are you a man or an axeman? If you know how to run a chainsaw, you may be an axeman. If you've dodged a tree or two, you may be an axeman. If you treat your friends like you treat your family, what the hell are you doing? Despite everything, you love your job. Another day in paradise. We know the answer. You are an axeman. All new episodes of Axeman, followed by the series premiere of Full Metal Jousting, Sunday at 9/8 Central on History. Made every day.
This Valentine's Day, send your sweetheart the gift that shines above all others. Name a star after them. I'm Rocky Moselle with International Star Registry. For $54 and a call to 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com, we will name a star after your sweetheart and send a beautiful gift package. The new star name will be recorded in book form in the U.S. Copyright Office. Call the Star Registry, 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com for this year's hottest Valentine's Day gift.
Now, your Doppler 12 Storm Vision Forecast on News Radio 1440.
Hi, everybody. This is Rich Thomas. Increasing clouds today. No big deal. High around 62. Mostly cloudy tonight. Could be some late-night showers. Maybe some early morning showers Saturday as the cold front moves through. Tonight's low 40. Tomorrow's high 54 happens in the morning. Then we plunge into the 40s, then the 30s. But northwest winds at 15 to 25 will make it seem much colder. Saturday night's low down to 22. And Sunday's high only in the 40s. Get ready. Here it comes. That's your Doppler 12 Storm Vision Forecast.
Attention taxpayers, if you've received a notice from the IRS or state, do not ignore it. It's also a big mistake to try and handle your tax problem on your own. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, it's a fact the government has the power to take everything you own, including your home, business, wages, savings, and your freedom. But here's the good news. There are new programs that are here to help you dramatically settle, reduce, or eliminate what you owe. But you have to call now. Take down this number.